What if I told you that humanity once had a building that contained all human knowledge, and then we burned it down 3 times? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of history's greatest tragedies, the destruction of the Library of Alexandria. But here's what most people don't know. The popular story you've heard is almost completely wrong. The truth is far more complex and, honestly, more terrifying. By the end of this video, you'll understand why losing Alexandria wasn't just about losing books. It was about losing the future itself. Picture this. It's 295 BCE in Alexandria, Egypt. Alexander the Great is dead, but his vision lives on through the Ptolemaic dynasty. They're building something unprecedented, not just a library, but the world's first university, research institute, and knowledge repository all rolled into one. This wasn't your local library. The Library of Alexandria was more like Google, Harvard, and the Louvre combined. Scholars estimate it contained between 400,000 to 700,000 scrolls. That's roughly equivalent to 100,000 modern books. But here's the crazy part. They didn't just collect knowledge. They were obsessed with it. Ships entering Alexandria's harbor were searched. Any scrolls found were confiscated, copied by professional scribes, and the originals kept for the library. The ship owners got the copies back. Imagine customs agents today seizing your iPhone just to download everything on it. The Ptolemies spent fortunes hiring the greatest minds of the ancient world. Euclid developed geometry here. Eratosthenes calculated the Earth's circumference with stunning accuracy, 2,200 years before we had satellites. Aristarchus proposed that Earth orbited the Sun, 1,800 years before Copernicus. So what exactly did we lose when Alexandria fell? Hold on to your seats, because this list will blow your mind. Hero of Alexandria invented the steam engine, not just the concept, an actual working steam engine in 50 CE. Imagine if humanity had started the Industrial Revolution 1,700 years early. We might have reached the stars by now. The library contained the complete works of ancient mathematicians, astronomers, and engineers whose knowledge wouldn't be rediscovered until the Renaissance, if ever. We lost medical texts that described surgical procedures not attempted again until the 1800s. Ancient Greek and Roman historians wrote detailed accounts of lost civilizations, mysterious technologies, and historical events that we can now only guess about. The library contained the original writings of Plato, Aristotle, and hundreds of other philosophers whose complete works we'll never read. But perhaps most tragically, we lost scientific progress that was centuries ahead of its time. Ancient scholars were working on problems in mathematics, astronomy, and engineering that we didn't solve again until the modern era. Think about it this way. If you could time travel and bring just one cart of scrolls back from Alexandria, you might advance human knowledge by hundreds of years overnight. Now here's where everyone gets the story wrong. Most people think Christians or Muslims burned down the library in one dramatic event. That's not what happened. The Library of Alexandria died a slow, agonizing death over several centuries. It's actually more tragic than a single burning would have been. The first blow came in 48 BCE during Julius Caesar's siege of Alexandria. Caesar's forces accidentally set fire to ships in the harbor, and the flames spread to part of the library district. But this wasn't the main library. It was likely a warehouse of duplicate scrolls. The real decline started with politics and economics. The Ptolemaic dynasty fell to Rome, and Roman emperors cared more about military conquest than preserving Greek knowledge. Funding dried up. Scholars left for other cities. The library slowly withered. In 391 CE, Christian mobs, incited by Bishop Theophilus, destroyed the Serapeum, a daughter library that housed many of Alexandria's remaining scrolls. This was religious extremism destroying pagan knowledge. The final nail in the coffin came in 641 CE when Arab forces conquered Alexandria. But here's the twist. The Arabs didn't destroy the library. By then, it barely existed anymore. The famous story about Caliph Omar ordering the scrolls burned is probably a myth invented centuries later. The truth is more depressing than any single dramatic destruction. The greatest library in human history died from neglect, politics, and religious fanaticism spread across 600 years. Let's do a thought experiment. What if the Library of Alexandria had survived until today? We might be living in a completely different world. The scientific method might have been developed 1,000 years earlier. The Renaissance might have happened in 500 CE instead of 1500 CE. We might have had computers in medieval times. But here's what really keeps historians awake at night. We lost knowledge that we might never rediscover. Ancient civilizations had insights into mathematics, astronomy, and engineering that could have solved problems we're still working on today. Some researchers believe ancient texts in Alexandria contained advanced metallurgy techniques, architectural principles for earthquake-resistant buildings, and even early concepts in chemistry and physics that wouldn't be redeveloped for centuries. The butterfly effect of losing Alexandria is impossible to calculate. Every technological breakthrough, every scientific discovery, every philosophical insight that might have emerged from that preserved knowledge, gone forever. Here's why this matters today. We're facing the same problem right now. Digital preservation is incredibly fragile. Websites disappear. Hard drives fail. Formats become obsolete. We're creating more information than ever before, but we're also losing it faster than any civilization in history. Think about it. How much of your digital life from 10 years ago can you still access? Now imagine that multiplied across all human knowledge. The Library of Alexandria's destruction wasn't just a historical tragedy, it's a warning. When we don't actively preserve and protect knowledge, we lose it. When politics and extremism triumph over learning, civilization goes backward. Today, projects like the Internet Archive and Wikipedia are our modern Alexandrias. They're preserving human knowledge, but they're also vulnerable to the same forces that destroyed the original: politics, funding cuts, and willful ignorance. The Library of Alexandria represents humanity's greatest what if. What if we had preserved that knowledge? What if politics hadn't trumped learning? What if religious extremism hadn't destroyed pagan wisdom? We can't bring back Alexandria, but we can learn from its loss. Knowledge is precious, fragile, and irreplaceable. Once it's gone forever. The next time someone tells you that preserving libraries, supporting education, or protecting academic freedom isn't important, remember Alexandria. Remember what we lost. And remember that it could happen again. What do you think? Could we be living in a completely different world if Alexandria had survived? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe for more mind-blowing history that changes how you see the world.